anti-test tube baby. He thinks that if a person had a test tube baby, they would never really love the child as their own.
For the first time, we're hearing from the father of the Palm Springs fertility clinic bombing suspect, who says his son was not an anti-pro-life person. Welcome to the Fox 11 News at 5, simulcast on our sister station, Fox 11 Plus. I'm Christine Devine.
And I'm Alex Michelson. The father of Guy Edward Bartkus also says he's not a terrorist. Fox 7's Christina Gonzalez spoke with him and joins us live from Palm Springs with more. Christina.
Yeah, he says a better term would be suicide bomber, and you're going to hear from him. But first, let me show you real quickly, because Indian Canyon Drive here remains completely off limits. The clinic is actually to the left of your screen over there. They're trying to make sure all these buildings are safe as they continue the investigation into this 25-year-old suspect. He put out a manifesto, but his dad gave us a sense of what may have been going through his mind. Listen.
Well, I call him a terrorist. I wouldn't call him a terrorist. A terrorist is out to kill people, our life, destroy life. He wasn't there to destroy it. He was there against a test tube baby.
The father of Guy Edward Bartkus, identified by the FBI as the suspect behind the bombing this weekend of the American Reproductive Center's fertility clinic in Palm Springs.
He was not anti-life. He was anti-test tube baby. He thinks that if a person had a test tube baby, they would never really love the child as their own.
Bartkus died in the blast, which injured 4 people.
Guys can just be on that outer perimeter.
Yeah.
I really do say that for your safety.
Federal agents have been working the 29 Palms home where Bartkus lived with his mom and sister. Neighbors say he kept to himself.
And I think that's probably the way he wanted it. You know, a lot of times when people do stuff like this, they kind of stay away from the public eye, away from a lot of public attention.
Back at the explosion site, the effort expanding from investigating to also trying to save the embryos at the clinic.
We didn't know what a cryogenic tank looked like or what it was, what we were going to find.
But they did find what they were looking for and saved all the facility embryos, and they're just beginning to hear the thank yous.
That's when things started to kind of hit home that like we were involved in something that was pretty special. So.
Especially for all those parents. Now, the area where the embryos were kept was not badly damaged, but the building itself was, as were other buildings near it. But I can tell you this, because people have been wondering, because this is all part of the Desert Care Network, the medical facilities. Tomorrow, Kaiser Permanente is saying that they are going to reopen their Palm Spring medical offices, even their lab and pharmacy. And again, this street should be reopened tomorrow. They hope we'll keep you updated. As to other things that Dad was telling us really quickly, he really believes that his son, and he has not talked to him for quite a few years, but he does not see him as a killer. And he has a sense that this kid, again, should be called a suicide bomber, that he blew himself up because he didn't want to hurt anybody else. Although 4 people were injured, but they have all been released. I'm Christina Gonzalez, live in Palm Springs. Back to you guys in the studio.
So interesting perspective there on the family. He lived with the mother and sister, hadn't talked to the father in a while, you say. Was the father surprised, shocked? Did he have any inkling that his son was perhaps having some troubling times?
No, and his father hasn't seen him because he had a heart attack, and he was undergoing medical care, but it was in contact with the family, with the mom and so forth. What he does say that in his background, he's a very bright kid, describes him as a computer genius, but also very active. He used to like to blow up little bombs, put little explosive things, small devices together, but nothing to this magnitude. He also believes he probably didn't do this on his own. He didn't think he had this kind of knowledge, but more important, he doesn't think he was trying to kill anybody. He keeps on insisting on that he made it a point to not kill anybody else, regardless of what his beliefs may be. I'm sure we're going to hear more once investigators go through that manifesto, which is pretty lengthy. It's online, and he talks about not wanting the what they call the test tube babies.
Is there any indication that he was not acting alone? I mean, is there any indication anybody else was helping him?
Not from investigators. We have not gotten that from investigators in any way. That is just a father trying to say, and you know, you can imagine as a father, he is going to see things his way, but he was adamant. It's not like he held back and said, like, this kid has never played with explosives before or anything like that. But he was adamant. He says, this kind of enormous explosion is not something that you just put together lightly. So he seems to think that, you know, he may have had counsel with other people, even if they didn't believe in what he believed, you know.
Well,
again, we're waiting for investigators to give us more information.
Yeah, and then to hear from the firefighters who worked that scene is really something, because you think of anybody who's gone through any kind of fertility treatments, trying to bring a baby into this world, having the troubles that they had to go through and the expense and the cost. I can just imagine the kind of thank yous that they are receiving from firefighters and from the public to the firefighters.
Oh, yes.
All right. Thank you, Christina.